Asia could face a sharp energy shock if the US-Israel-Iran war escalates, the International Monetary Fund has warned. IMF Asia-Pacific Director Krishna Srinivasan said the region is more vulnerable than others due to its heavy reliance on fuel imports from West Asia. He cautioned that a prolonged conflict in the region could disrupt supplies and significantly impact economic growth across the region.
The shock is raising inflation, weakening external balances, tightening financial conditions, and narrowing policy space.
Asian economies entered 2026 on a relatively strong footing, supported by lower US tariffs, a robust technology cycle, and loose financial conditions. These factors have for now helped offset the impact of rising energy risks. But Asia's reliance on fuel from the region will keep the region exposed to the fallout from the war.
The region is highly energy intensive, and you can see that in the chart on the left-hand side. The use of oil and gas amounts to about 4% of GDP for the region as a whole, although there is variation across countries. Now, this 4% which I talked about is nearly double Europe's share. And there's a lot of heterogeneity. For example, oil and gas use exceeds 10% in Malaysia and Thailand, but it's only 2% in Australia and New Zealand. Second, limited domestic production means that this high energy intensity translates into import dependence. Altogether, net oil and gas imports amount to about 2.5% of GDP for the region, rising to about 8% for some economies such as Singapore and Thailand. First, a larger or more persistent energy shock would hit Asia-Pacific countries unevenly. Second, economies that depend heavily on imported energy use are especially vulnerable. Third, risks are greater still where energy buffers and fiscal space are limited, or where remittances, tourism, or fertilizer imports add to the exposure. This matters in parts of South Asia, Southeast Asia, and key among the Pacific Island countries. To better quantify risks, the VO includes two other scenarios. Under the adverse scenario, the increase in energy prices is larger and more persistent, with oil prices rising to about 60% above the January forecast in 2026 and remaining 20% higher in 2027. This leads to a cumulative output loss of about 0.8% by 2027 for the major Asian economies and to higher inflation. In the more severe scenario, the shock becomes more persistent and damaging. The economic drag worsens due to second-round effects with cumulative output losses almost 2% by 2027. Energy-exposed economies, especially in some South and Southeast Asian economies, will be hit the hardest.